YouTube, what's going on, man? Today is another Wednesday, and we're just doing a Let's Talk episode, man. We want to talk about what's going on in the world of Darrell Coleman and Mr. Shamrock's real estate world, all right? So today's story is definitely going to take the cake for all stories for me. Even with the, what did I do? When I walked in on somebody, the people just sitting in the house, the squatters. So this one right here is just, it's not my story. So let me just put that out there. This is a client that I was working with, and they called me last Friday to be able to tell me this story. And it's beyond me, man. So happy Wednesday. I hope all of you guys are doing great, and stay tuned for the story, man. I hope you appreciate it. All right, so these are clients that I had and really good friends of mine now that I've had for about 3 years. And the husband and wife were actually in the Air Force Reserve. The wife worked on base, and the husband was doing insurance for a while. So they've now, moved on to another location where it's called PCS, where they moved duty stations, and they actually chose to go to Georgia. So that's closer to their family. Super sad that they're leaving. We got to have a great dinner with them and just a really good time, man. When they were here, I actually babysat their daughter for the first week that they moved here, because the husband was on the way, and I got to babysit the youngest kid. I think she was maybe about 1 or 2 or so, and that's pretty awesome. It was good just to be able to be trusted, and then it was good just to have her there, man. She was a ball of joy. She was running me ragged with telling her stories. Like, I had to read a book to her, and she was supposed to go to sleep for for nap time. This girl didn't go to sleep, so she played me on that one. I think mom set me up on that. So yeah, Monique, you set me up to read these books to her, knowing she wasn't gonna go to sleep. I believe that's the case. But anyway, so we sold their house here. All right, that went off pretty well. Just one little hiccup, and I can't mention that here, but one little quick hiccup. Oh, and then they left their spices. That's it. It was the aprons and their spices on the back of the door in the pantry. It is what it is. It's all good though. But they didn't need it. It was going to cost more money to send that to them than it would be to just take some pictures, which I did, and then send it over to them. So that one closed on the 15th. Okay, so that closed on the 15th of September. So that was a great deal. Got more than what we were asking for. Super simple closing. Now, what they had done was already went to Georgia, planned to purchase a house, put an offer in. Everything was going well. The appraisal came back, and it came back really low. So now they didn't back out. The seller actually backed out because they didn't like the appraisal price. So that's a bummer, because now that just means you have to go back and you have to look. So what happened was, we were still in the middle of closing, probably about a week and a half out. And now Monique and her daughters have to go to Georgia in advance, like sooner than they were thinking, in order to get this house situation taken care of. So that's what they did when they came down here, okay? So it's not, out of the ordinary. It's a little different when one spouse is picking the house and not both. But, you got to do what you got to do when you're in the military. So anyway, she goes down there, finds another beautiful home. And actually, I feel like this home is way better than the other one. A lot bigger, okay? I think it's 3,600 square feet or so. And the house we were going from was like 2,300, 2,400 maybe. I don't remember exactly. I can't remember that. But the home is a lot different in size, a lot different in configuration. But man, this thing is gorgeous. Georgia homes are way different than Arizona. So if you're not, aware of what Georgia looks like, man, just go on Zillow, check out some of these homes. It's super beautiful. But if you're from Georgia, man, hit the like button. If you're from Arizona, hit the like button, because these are two great places. Two big extremes though. Heat, is different here than it is there, man. You got humidity like crazy. And then here it's just, you just die in this heat. It's ridiculous. But anyway, she goes down there, finds a home. This home is gorgeous, like I said, puts in an offer. The lady that was selling it had just lost her husband. And, you know, she was willing to work with my client, and they put in an offer, got it accepted. Start going through the process of purchasing. Everything seems to be going well. My client is really, really nice with negotiating and not really asking for much of anything because of the circumstances. She wants to make it as simple as possible for this woman. And in my head, I'm thinking this woman is like elderly, but I wasn't really sure. So she was making it as simple as possible for her to transition from that home to whatever she was going to do, you know, home-wise, whether it be buy another home, smaller, live with family, whatever the case may be. All right. Now we start getting closer to the closing date, and well, actually, let's go to the closing date, right? So we get to the closing date, and there's a few things that are happening. There's a final payoff quote that the title company needed, and that payoff quote was running a little bit late. So now it's pushing things back a little bit. But my client is still moving forward because they've been through the process before. They did it with me, and I'm very informative. Man, you can see these hands are crusty. Hit the like button for them crusty hands, boy. It doesn't matter how much money I make, I'm still gonna be crusty. Even, man, boy, whoo-wee. Let me put some water on that. Might have to lick it. But, so they're going through the process, and everything's well, minus the lady didn't get the payoff. That's something you can get, right? And so they get to the signing table, and in Georgia, it's a little bit different than here in Arizona. In Georgia, what happens is you have an attorney for the lender, only for the lender, that's going to represent the lender. The lender doesn't have to be there. The attorney's there to represent them. And then you have the buyer, and then you have the seller on the other side. And so you have two people, the buyer and the seller, and then you have the attorney right here in the middle. Now, the buyer and the seller can get an attorney. It's going to be costly. You have to pay for it out of your pocket. That's not something that's provided. But neither side got it. All right. The realtor is there, I believe, for my client Monique, and they're doing the signing and things like that. And her husband's there too, because he had transitioned by this time. So we closed on the 13th. They were closing, I think, on the 23rd or something like that. So what happened was they signed all of that good stuff. There was no keys there. There was no mailbox key, any of that stuff. I think she did have a garage door opener, is what she said. So there's garage door opener, but she was like, you gotta wait for my realtor to get the key for you. It's out of the lockbox, blah, 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 blah. Yeah. So there's no keys to transition as we sign off on these things. Anyway, now my client is like, sweet, everything is good. The deal is signed. All this stuff is completed. Let's go look at our new home, right? That's how it should be. Here in Arizona, it's a little bit different. You sign for all of these things. You have to wait for the recording. The recording happens. Once it's recorded, then, and sometimes it happens like an hour later, 2 hours later, 3 hours, whatever. So if we sign at 9 o'clock in the morning, sometimes it doesn't happen until 1, 2 in the afternoon. But that recording happens though. So once that happens, I notify, or the title company, I don't care who notifies, one of us notify the buyer that, hey, everything is recorded. The seller no longer owns the home. The buyer is now the owner. And I go down there and typically hand them their keys, all right? Hand them their keys, their gift. I do all of that stuff with them and really just enjoy the moment with them. So it's a great thing. So if you're a realtor, that's one of the best parts of the deal is the closing, getting them a gift, and seeing how excited your client is. Same thing for the clients, man. You guys really make us excited, and it's great to have that feeling of, hey, we were there to help you through the whole process. Anyway, let's get back to what we were talking about, right? So they're out in Georgia, closing date. My client drives over to the house. They get the key, and I think they go to the front door because her realtor, not their realtor, her realtor had to come in and get the key for them. And then they go to the front door to be surprised. Her realtor has some like some wine, not wine, some liquor for them. And they opened the door, and the previous owner's kids are sitting in the house watching cable. And so I say cable because you have to purposely not cut off your cable to have cable on at the moment. And the house is still pretty much fully furnished. And I say pretty much because it wasn't completely just like they never even started to move, but they really didn't really start to move. Okay. So they moved just a little bit upstairs and then not very much downstairs. There's some boxes and things sitting around, but these folks are not gone. The house is already somebody else's home. They no longer own it, and they're still just kicking it. So there's a boy and a girl. I think they were twins, around 19, and they have one kid that's there. So there's one grandbaby that's there, and the grandbaby's maybe one or so, and just floating around. But my client is like, what's going on? The son calls his mom. There's some back and forth going on there between Monique and the previous owner, the woman. All right. So, and this is when I asked my client, like, how long ago did her husband pass away? And she's like, about 18 months ago. Now, I don't want to be insensitive because that's going to be a pain that's going to hurt for as long as it needs to hurt for you. And I think it might be a forever situation because if you're married to the individual and they pass away, that's a part of you. So that piece of that is going to be with her for forever. Okay. But for whatever reason, the home needed to be sold because she was behind on bills, and the whole process was completed, but her realtor didn't really, I guess, inform her that she has to get out the house, man. You got to be out of the house. You can't stay there, okay? When you sell your home, you got to get out. You can't stay there, all right? I just want to reiterate that, and I tell that to all of my clients. Yo, these are the terms. Understand them 100%. I'll go over these terms 100 times. So anyway, my client is not happy. Her and her husband are not happy because these people are still sitting there. They're trying to figure out, like, you guys got to get out. If you didn't know you're going to not be available, again, my client was flexible. She would have just let her stay or rent it back or whatever the case may be, helped her with some movers or something. So my client is like, hey, so what I'll do is help you guys move your stuff to the garage, and then we can get this thing situated. You just pick it up in the garage in the morning. Well, things started to get heated. The woman shows up. Things get really, really bad, and the son starts to charge at my client's husband. So when that happens, there was a locksmith there that was supposed to be changing the locks, which is very important because now you own a home that somebody else may have keys to. And this is very important for anybody that's purchasing a home. Get a goddamn locksmith, or if it's one of them Schlag ones or whatever that you can switch up, change the dang code thing to it, man. So people aren't just walking in your home. Anybody can have a key, all right? So change the locks, very important. Anyway, the locksmith's trying to figure out what's going on. The young man charges at the new owner's husband. And I'm trying to make sure I get it all in there, man. Whew. And they ended up just calling the police. And I believe the locksmith called the police too, because this is just beyond crazy at this point. So the police are on the way. Everybody's stepping back. And I do have a couple of videos, and I try to link those in there as well. So if I have the video, then that'll kind of piece together what's happening somewhat. But this house, like I said, was fully furnished, man. So I do have those pictures, and I'm going to include that throughout the whole thing, so it can play into this a little bit. But police come, and then we're not really sure how to handle this. This doesn't normally happen. What's going on? And yeah, it was just a weird situation. So my clients got them out. Luckily, some other family came for the seller. And he was a level-headed. It was one of the sons. He was level-headed, and he kind of just smoothed things out. Everybody just leave. This is too much. What's going on? Got everything straight. Got the 19-year-old that was charging at the husband. Got him calmed down to leave and stuff like that. All right. So, and I think that's what my client got the video of, is them leaving and, jamming out to their music, but the driveway is just full. So the odds are not in my client's favor, in Monique's favor. So they finally leave. Monique and her husband go in the house and they start breaking down furniture and things like that to bring it out to the garage. So this is not something that the buyer should be doing. The buyer should be able to walk in, do a little bit of cleaning, and then start moving their items in. So luckily they didn't plan that way to be moving their items in immediately, because the military moves slow, but it is what it is. And what happened was the husband had to stay there. He slept with a hammer next to his head because he's not sure what's going to happen. There's family that lives right in the area, so you're really not sure what's going to happen. And that's when Monique called me, and her time it's like 12 o'clock at night, but my time is like 8:30, 9 o'clock, and explained this whole thing to me. And I'm beyond blown away, because this is not something I would picture happening, especially not for me. And then that just gave them a better appreciation for great realtors. Their realtor was amazing, I will say that, but the realtor that represented the seller was I want to say, like, not forthcoming with what needed to happen or expectations and pushing things along possibly. So we're not sure if it was a miscommunication, because that seller also called my buyer's realtor. All right. So my client's realtor now talked to them, and she was like, I didn't know I had to move. I paid I paid the mortgage for the whole month. So if I paid mortgage for the whole month, I still got the whole 30 days. Yeah, foolish. So you don't have 30 days. I don't care. You get all your money back. You get prorated, all that stuff. When you close, get out of the house, man. You don't have that choice like that. So the next day, I text the husband in the morning. I didn't get a text back until like 2 days later. So I know things were just heated and going crazy. But I did ask Monique, can I post this? Because this is wild to me. She did a whole walkthrough of the house. She did video to make sure everything was good. They didn't ask for any repairs. There was holes in the walls. There was holes in doors. Like, there's broken items. So there's things that they got to fix, but they're going to do it. But the biggest thing is, in Georgia, they have septic tanks. They don't have, city sewers and stuff like that, or the city utilities for the plumbing. So there's a septic tank, and they had a huge board on it, and then some pine straw on top of it to cover it up. Okay. When they closed, they went over there to go look at it and pulled that board up. There's a massive hole in the septic tank. Mind you, this home was built 3 years ago. There shouldn't be any hole. There shouldn't be any damage to the septic tank. It should be just fine. But there's a massive hole in it. So now that's got to be repaired. And the previous owner said, hey, we had that sucked out, so don't worry about it. That thing wasn't sucked out. It smelled horrible. It looked horrible. It was full. It was disgusting. So, yeah, this is just a story time for y'all, man. I love doing these kind of stories because in real estate, it's not always just sugar plum and fairies, man. There's some real crazy stuff that does happen. I wish it didn't happen, but it does. And my client just had a greater appreciation for me because I was able to literally alleviate a lot of problems, and they never saw anything like this, luckily. Nothing bad to the other realtor, because there's really nothing he could have done except for what he did. And man, this is just a tough lesson. It's crazy. So hopefully you like this video, man. Please hit the like button and subscribe. Man, I love y'all. And it's another Wednesday, baby. Peace out.